Previously on The Business.
It's time to turn our attention now to all things social media, and something that I probably need to pay attention to is Mel Attree's top 10 tips for Twitter 101. Over to you, Mel.
Right. I wanted to talk about this today because a lot of people ask about Twitter, and Twitter looks to be really simple, but it's actually pretty complicated. I want to state up front that there's no right or wrong way to use Twitter because that would be presumptuous of me. Social networks kind of are defined by how people use them, and they kind of change and they morph according to what people need. But there are a couple of things that stick out for me. So the first thing is you have to have a bio on Twitter. Have some sort of a biography. Tell people who you are and what you do. This means that you don't get attacked by these spam bots, which is a really good thing.
Why not?
Because, you know, the spam bots will see then they verify you as kind of a real person. There's something behind it in terms of the tech. So there's that. You'll be hit by less spam. The bots won't attack onto you. And then also, if you've got a bio and you actually are a human and you tell people what you do, you're more likely to be followed.
Can we break down a spam bot for somebody who is
please
terrified when they hear that word?
Yeah.
So spam bots are just kind of, they just trawl through the internet looking for open kind of open gaps, and then just kind of hack and attack in and as appropriate. So anyone who's been hacked on Twitter, anyone who's sent out kind of weight loss ads or whatever other ads, or sent random DMs to people, that's just been filtered through by some sort of a bot that's coming through. And people are writing new bots every single day.
I thought that's just because I need to go to
hack
gym.
into
That's
as did I.
In fact, spam bots are our friends.
Yes, spam bots remind us.
Oh, dear.
Cool. Then the next really interesting thing is that obviously Twitter is only 140 characters. Like if you've got something longer to say, don't send 5 tweets in a row, write a blog post. If you are putting an image into your tweet, it's 116 characters. So just bear that in mind. All of these things go for people and businesses, obviously, that the same kind of rules apply. There's one really cool thing that people tend to forget, and particularly if you're running a business account or you want people to kind of talk about what you're putting out. If you're putting out something really smart on Twitter, make sure you leave space for somebody else to retweet it. So some people don't always want to do an automatic retweet, which is where you just hit the retweet button. Some people want to copy and paste it and say, this is awesome because of X, Y, and Z. So leave space.
How much space? How many characters?
You know, like characters that would be enough for a general kind of username. So probably about 12 characters, I'd say, at least.
Because, I don't count my characters, but I have followed that principle. But sometimes I have too much to say, and I'm too lazy to edit it. You know?
Editing is key.
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
Twitter's the best place to learn how to edit better also, which is great. If you want other people to see your tweets, so if you're running a corporate account or you're running an account where you want other people to see what's going on, if you said now, if I said at ENFSA on Balls Radio, that's only going to go to people who follow me and follow Ian. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you've got to have something in front of it. Some people use a dot and then at, which kind of annoys me because it feels like we've forgotten to use people's names in sentences. So it feels, like as opposed to hello Ian, or how's it Ian, or I'm here with Ian. So just kind of bear that in mind. Retweeting is really important. Like you've got to credit the official author of a tweet. A lot of new people who come into Twitter don't know how to do that. So they generally just, there was one person who started Twitter about a year ago, and I suddenly saw in my feed for some reason, she was just taking all my tweets and then just copying them and just putting them into her own. And I said to her, sorry, I kind of tweeted that, like an hour ago. And she said, oh, I was retweeting you, but she just didn't know kind of how to.
Right.
So RT is a retweet. A PRT is a partial retweet.
Never seen that.
Which means that you've kind of, you've edited it. So you've taken a component. So if you'd said, I love this song because it reminds me of when I was at Varsity, I could take, I love this song. That's a PRT, a partial retweet.
Will it automatically do that for you?
No.
No.
This is a manual
you have
exercise.
to credit it
Right.
Credit it back.
Yeah.
And then a modified retweet is an MRT. Modified, perhaps if you corrected someone's spelling to stop them from looking like an idiot, which is quite nice of you.
Kind of the modern day open brackets, sick close brackets.
Yes, it would be, actually. Here's a bugbear, right? So a lot of people who seem to think they're quite famous or influential or important retweet their compliments. It drives me nuts. It's almost like as if somebody said to me, "Oh my gosh, your hair looks amazing today," and then I stand up in the room and I say, "Hey everyone, Ian just told me my hair looks amazing today."
What if you add a comment at the end going, "Thank you so much"?
Why can't you just write back to them and say thank you so much?
Because in context, you're thanking somebody out of context. And when you have that beginning part, you're seeing that someone's paid you a compliment and you're thanking them, and therefore you'd retweet the whole
But you
thing.
know that Twitter changed context now. So you can go back and a tweet will always reference a tweet before. So there's always a chain of
Well,
conversation.
that's new.
Yes.
And old habits die hard.
Yes.
So, you know,
Stop retweeting your compliments,
old.
Ian.
But having said that, if you're a brand, retweeting a compliment
okay.
is okay.
If it
Yeah.
is something that may benefit others or something
Yes.
that makes sense, and not just a brag fest.
Yes.
Because that
Yeah.
gets a little bit tiring.
Good
right?
one. Good one.
Hashtags. Can we talk about hashtags quickly?
Hashtag.
Hashtag.
Hashtag awesome.
If you're using a hashtag as a brand, it's normally a good idea to kind of go onto the internet and find out, first of all, if the hashtag exists. Otherwise, you're just kind of tagging onto another conversation. I'm surprised by how many people don't do
They
that.
don't, yeah.
Just search for a hashtag. It's easy. Keep it short and keep it simple. Nobody wants to have to think about how to spell a hashtag. So that's really important. You can't use apostrophe in a hashtag. So you can't use like Ian and with an ampersand Kriya hashtag because it's going to drop it.
Right.
The other thing is, which is kind of a bugbear, is that if you're going to post images on Twitter, just make sure that they're right way up. You know, everyone thinks you're an idiot. You're posting photos of people that are lying on their sides.
Just
you
quickly, before you leave the hashtag thing, please,
Yes.
I've got one more bugbear, and it's something that is so important. If I think a movie is great, just put their hashtag fabuloso or whatever you want to do. But people go, hashtag brilliant, hashtag blonde actress, hashtag this, hashtag that, and you know,
The whole
like,
tweet
I
is
just go like,
hashtags.
really?
More so on Instagram
Unfollow.
than Twitter.
Yeah.
It's just, come on.
Yeah, people play on Instagram. People play games on Instagram with hashtags to get more followers. On Twitter, I suppose, yeah. I mean, if you're a really important person and your opinion matters on that, then people will search for those hashtags.
Sure.
Otherwise, you are hashtag just being a hashtag.
Yeah, well, that's an
Idiot.
unfollow for me.
You can hashtag them back, hashtag idiot.
Yes.
No, hashtag unfollowed.
There is such thing as too many hashtags,
Yeah.
for sure.
Sorry, I had to butt in there. Sorry.
So here's an interesting one, because a lot of people are obviously running personal accounts, business accounts, those kind of things. Please just make sure you check what account it's coming from before you tweet. That's the way that the accidents happen, and they happen quite badly. So, for example, if you're using mobile apps to do tweeting, try and use 2 different mobile apps. So have one that is reserved for your personal and one that's reserved for your business. Because after a couple of glasses of wine or whatever it is, you start tweeting from a company account and things just go horribly wrong.
I think that's
for
great
you.
advice. Sounds
you.
so obvious, but really
Yes.
fantastic tip.
Good
The
thing,
obvious stuff is
good-
important.
Good thing I don't drink.
Yeah. The other thing is that do you guys use Twitter lists at all?
Yes.
So Twitter lists are quite great, because then you're able to follow streams of people that are relevant to stuff that you're talking about or stuff that you're interested in. I'm a big fan of Twitter lists. I think that's great, and you should be so you can do lists around. Maybe you follow car journalists or music people or DJs or actresses or whatever it is. Put them into different lists, and you can just open that up as a list on the web or on your mobile app, and you can just follow what they're saying. 2 more quick tips. Look at all my paper here. I'm amazing. I'm so digital.
I say go Mel.
Yeah.
You're
Old
never going to
school.
get rid of paper.
Bad grammar. Like, you know, I've got a thing, like, just be careful. Just try and check your grammar, you know. Try and spell nicely. Don't talk like a teenager, because I do think it actually impacts on how you're perceived. I don't know what you guys
that
think.
goes beyond Twitter even, though, doesn't
Absolutely,
it?
yeah.
I mean, you know, just take a look at Facebook, take a look at some of the blogs, take a look at WhatsApp, take a look at BBM,
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, if you want to be seen as a credible kind of human being who's got half a brain, then let's, you know,
Well-
use some good grammar.
Well, especially if you're using it on a business level. That's
Yes,
the part that
please,
irritates me. You
especially.
know,
Sure.
if you
Absolutely.
if you're using that and it's part of your marketing strategy on a business level, then you really ought to be able to spell correctly.
Yeah, 100%. The last one is that obviously a lot of these services allow you to schedule tweets. I think Twitter directly allows you to schedule tweets now as well. Scheduling tweets is okay if you are sure that something is going to happen at that moment. If you are sure that you can be there to possibly moderate any responses to those tweets. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So if you're running an event tonight at 10 o'clock and you cannot foresee the fact that maybe it starts raining and a hailstorm happens and the tent blows away, don't tweet, oh, DJ so-and-so is coming on stage next. Because that may not happen. So if you're going to tweet stuff to make it easier for you to manage your process and your flow, that's fine. But just make sure that you're there to able to back it up and to moderate it at the time.
Mel Attree, you are so clever.
Thank you, Ian.
You are so clever. In fact, 2 or 3 of those tips I hadn't even considered. I consider myself shouted at. And if you run a small business or a big business for that matter, you might want to just take some of those tips.
The Business on balls.co.za. Brought to you by FNB Business Banking.